We're good.
Good?
Yeah, yep.
All right, we're going to call this meeting to order of the Avery County Fire Commission in regular meeting. What's today? This is month day. March 11th, 2021. It's 7 o'clock. Had a little bit of 2-minute difficulty, technical difficulty, but we want to convene this meeting. I'd like to call for the invocation. Jane, will you lead us in prayer?
Lord, we just ask that you be with us tonight, Lord, as we conduct the business of the fire departments and, Lord, the fire commission, Lord, of this county. Lord, we just pray for those, Lord, this week that have been dealing with tragedy, Lord, and different situations, Lord. We ask that you would be with each one, Lord, and just give them peace, Lord, and comfort, Lord. And we just pray for us, Lord, as we make decisions, Lord, that it would be to better the service of our community, Lord, and we just ask that you lead, guide, and direct us throughout. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, any addition or deletions to the agenda? I don't think there are any. All right. No one's here for public comment, or did anybody send something in on public comment, Jeff? All right. Get straight to the agenda items. Newland Little Tanker Repair. What you got?
We're basically requesting to have the pump replaced on our small tanker 7302. The pump itself has a hole wore through the pump housing and is currently leaking water.
You can sit.
I think the estimate, I don't have the paperwork right in front of me because I come from a call, but I think it was just under $10,000 for the parts, labor to replace the pump and replace the tank to pump valve, because we rebuilt it twice, and it still leaks.
Okay. Now, the little tanker is your truck. Do I understand that correctly?
We did purchase that truck from Crossnor with our private funds, but it was basically a wash from the truck that we had. We got this one for the exact same amount that we had in our old one and just swapped.
No, the other one was in bad shape. This truck's in good shape, except for this issue that's popped up. But the reason we maintain this truck is because our big tanker is so big and heavy, we can't get it in a lot of places. And we run this little truck to get in places where we can't get the other one. Plus, there's places in like Limble's district that's the only tanker they can get in some of these driveways.
Okay.
Just as a reference.
Okay. Gentlemen, we have this request before us. Is there any questions or comments?
We use it countywide.
Well, here's what I think a little bit of the issue is, and this is just a perspective, and we can talk about this. It is, you bought that with personal funds, right? And it's a private truck, essentially.
Technically, he swapped it. Sold the old truck that they had that was county money. He used that money to buy this truck.
Oh, how long ago was this?
2 to 3 years ago.
Okay. Here's my individual thought is right off the bat, and I don't know all the history and what you've gone going through. You've got to, anytime you have a private asset and you're asking to put public money into it, that's an issue. Even with property, you know, if we're going to improve, well, Frank is a joint deal. Anytime we're going to put, we can't put public money toward private because then we got no interest in it. It's got to be a dual deal. Now, this is a truck. They're usually, you purchased it, but then there's usually a lien back to us on something that we're maintaining. So that's what I'm not saying I'm just saying that's the issue that needs to be addressed as far as what I think.
Taxpayers of the county.
I mean, there was a need for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason that we did it, because the truck that we had, we couldn't keep it on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And the truck that was bought,
Supposedly to replace that,
Mm-hmm.
it's just too big. In fact, it's, to be honest with you, it's almost over GVW, overweight. So we have to be real careful where it goes.
That's the problem, why did it get purchased and
that was before my time.
through the truck committee and
Would-
stuff, that's not.
Previous administration.
Previous administration. Would you have, and I'm just thinking for me with just the one issue that I'm bringing up, and we can all kick in on this to work this out. Would you have an issue with, if we putting this money back in there, that we somehow get a lien back on it to where it's back to not just Newland's private truck, but also a part of what we're doing? If they took county property and sold it and bought this truck kind of private, and I'm not sure how that works out. If we put money into it, we gotta have some skin in the thing. We gotta have, it just can't be, we're gonna drop $9,300 and it's Newland's truck, and then maybe you turn around and sell it, and then you get the money and we're out that, not that you would do that, that's not the point, but that is the situation or the implication. And I don't have a problem with any of that as long as we can, work that kind of thing out. But that's just me speaking, so y'all need to kick in on this. I mean, would you all agree it's a truck they need to have, and it needs to be a truck that services the county and all that, or, and I'm not sure how that sale happened before, but we're not dealing with that, we're just dealing with what we got now.
Right.
I basically have to go back to my board.
Mhm.
See what they said, but
Technically, you're already doing that. Because there's 3 trucks at Linville that are not owned by anyone but Linville that you all are servicing. Because they're engines.
That were purchased by Linville to begin with early on, that were looking to be replaced.
Looking to be, but been servicing them since the fire commission
Mhm.
existed. Technically, every department's got trucks like that. I'm sure you've got some.
Okay, so what do we
Not
suggest?
that I'm trying to throw a monkey wrench in the wheel, but.
Well, no.
That is true.
I think we gotta set a standard at some point, because we've discussed this before with insurance and everything else, that if we replace trucks, then we're not gonna, but it sounds like to me, the truck should have been put in the commission's name, or a lien holder, just like all the other trucks, because money was bought. If we swap trucks with that per se, then it should have, that money was coming from the commission to start with.
So explain to me again how you ended up with the truck. It was,
okay,
I'll tell you how it happened. We had a live burn with Crossmore one weekend.
uh-huh,
Our old tanker was a gasoline powered
mm-hmm,
truck, and very underpowered for the area it's in.
mm-hmm,
We had just gotten it repaired and was trying to use it. We was gonna haul water to the house, it broke down in the middle of the driveway.
and that was owned by,
Us.
okay,
It's always been owned by
right,
Newland.
gotcha.
The truck Crossmore had,
They said, hey, we're getting ready to sell this truck.
really. So we worked up a deal and basically bought that truck.
Mm-hmm,
I found a buyer for the truck that we had.
For
mm-hmm,
the same amount of money, we basically just made a swap.
okay. And that truck that Crossmore had was owned by,
Crossmore.
okay, there was no lien on it,
No.
okay.
Anything technically older than what, 12 years old, 12 or 14?
Mm-hmm. Was bought by the
Yeah.
departments,
Yeah,
okay?
that's why Linville's got so many that the fire commission has no control on.
Right. Well, but my thought is that I don't mind, as a single member of this board, I don't mind fixing that, particularly it's one that's in use, but with the way how we do things now, and again, the issue being public money to a private entity, which I don't know can happen.
And we've got a serious problem.
Well, you know, we've got these trucks, but if he's asking for almost $10,000, I would say, let's do what we need to do to throw a lien on it like the other trucks and get it fixed and let him use it. And then we'll just dispose of it, like we normally do, and then replace it whenever it's time to replace. That's my thoughts. And that way, we can be good by the taxpayer not putting $10,000 or $9,000 into a private truck, and you get the truck you need and get it fixed.
I personally don't have a problem with that.
Okay?
But I can't speak on behalf
Of the, right, I understand. So y'all, am I wrong, am I right, or are we good with that, or do we need to do something else? Y'all chime in.
As long as we do all trucks that way from someone that comes for money. I mean, we just have to. And I understand what you're saying. If we put $10,000 in a truck and once they turn around and trade it for another truck,
Mm-hmm.
we can't do nothing about it.
Right.
But yeah, I understand what you're saying. As long as we do all,
Is there a
everybody.
way just to, I mean, and I'm just speculating, is there a way, because I gotta be honest with you, it's gonna be a hard sell to get Linville to turn any of their old trucks over to the fire commission. Is there a way to just hold the department accountable for any money that's put in the truck? If it is traded, sold, or wrecked, and insurance money comes out of it,
Mm-hmm.
is it for the commission to hold a stake in it?
So it's still an issue of investing in old trucks until we get everything replaced.
See what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Like Linville, we've got 1, 2.
Well, we'd like to think you're getting them replaced before they have any major problem.
Right.
We'd like to think that. That's the ideal situation.
I agree, it is an ideal situation. And again, I'm
Well,
not
go,
trying to.
make a suggestion. We need to get all this out so we can figure it out.
I don't know what to suggest, because I don't know the legality of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any suggestion?
Any more thoughts?
I think you're on the right track. I mean, at some point, we've got to get a hold of it. I mean, I think if you really go back and look, if you really went back to look to see what fire tax money bought what, probably the huge majority of the trucks, minus a few, has come from tax money, or they were paid off when, several years ago, when you were on the commission,
Oh, God, several years.
when, over
It's
the
been
process
longer.
where they were paying off the trucks.
every truck.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I know Linville's got some, Better Elf may have some.
With tax money.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't titled.
Right.
It just wasn't titled.
Wasn't titled.
Yeah, it was, they were never titled, because the newer trucks, at some point, we've got to get a handle on that.
Mhm.
All building tax.
I would say the truck you own that was crossing orders was bought.
Tax money.
You sure?
I about guarantee it.
I would say.
Because they had a loan on that truck and the loan was paid off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. That's what I'm saying. If you went back to pretty much every fire department, them trucks were, fire tax money was used to buy them trucks, either to pay them off or buy
That's
them.
been, oh, God, I don't know, 2009,
Yeah.
6, 9?
10 years.
Yeah, every bit.
I'd say most of the trucks paid off before you came out, something like that when he's.
But in the issue there, and I was one of the leads on that, was the departments, volunteer departments don't need to be carrying that kind of note. So we increased the 3% tax to pay off, and then once it's paid off, then you have money to buy new. So, but I know that there's an issue now about,
Fell to the wayside.
well, it's just an issue of putting public money into private assets. I don't know that can happen, or it shouldn't happen. So, but wanting to get Newland what they want, but also satisfy,
Legalities.
yeah, well, satisfy the taxpayer on that side. So,
Yeah, I mean, if they're willing to do that, I mean.
do you wanna go back to your board and check with them on that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think, because I brought it up, but I think the consensus is that's fair. that we're gonna put that money into it? Because I would like to think though, even though our name's on it, and even though our names aren't on Linville's, but if it had to be, they're not gonna be around that much longer. I'd like to think that we're on this and that we're replacing trucks and we don't get to have these old things, you know what I'm saying? That we got all new.
We're pushing.
And the other fire departments shouldn't have to buy it, and that's the other thing.
Right.
If
They
everybody
should
goes
have what
out
they
and buys
need.
their own trucks.
Right.
And then not go through the process we have
Right.
set up, and then you've got, then they come and say, well, we need this fixed, and then
Mhm.
eventually,
And-
we're not accomplishing what we set out, I
Right.
think, to accomplish with replacing trucks.
I asked this question.
Sure.
I know the truck committee in the past was not too big on replacing tankers. They were worried about just engines. So that's the reason we've tried to, we're in the predicament where we
I've been
have
told
tankers.
that tankers do not apply to the 20-year cycle.
What, no, Jeff, is that right? Just engines?
Right, just engines. Yeah, NFPA is just engines.
Well, the
But you're still looking, as trucks come up, you're still looking at, like, no difference than a brush truck or QRVs and all this other stuff we're replacing.
Well,
All right, let me understand this first. So, the truck inventory, Jeff, that you did, that you and Brian did, doesn't include tankers.
It does at the bottom, but we done
They're on a
engines,
separate list.
they're on a separate list,
Why is that?
because engines are the priority.
You can pick what you want to replace and when you want to replace it.
Okay. But don't tankers need to be replaced as much as engines? I mean,
How many tankers is left?
The problem is most places went to
Very few.
combination.
Actual tanker.
oh,
Actual tankers.
This was an upgrade.
That I can't say, because all of Linville's are pump
Right.
tankers.
That's what I said.
Right.
I mean, we just got one, a tanker. I mean,
Okay.
a pump tanker.
all right, I'm gonna, in the coming weeks and months, I need to wrap my head around this whole tanker issue. But for right now, we got, Newland's asking for the repair. What has been suggested is that, that may be okay if their board is okay with us getting the lien on it, or joint ownership, or, you know, with it, for as long as it lasts, or until we can get it replaced. And that their board actually needs to come and request that and be okay with it. Is that good with everybody in what we're doing? Okay. Is that, we good? Okay, all right, thank you. All right, the, agenda item B, Linville has an invoice on their generator install. I'm looking for approval, I guess.
Levin could not be here. Let me say that up front, he had some, family babysitting issues.
Well,
So I'm gonna have to kind of speak a little bit outside of this spot, I guess, but,
okay.
I had asked Jeff to come over there and take a look at it.
Mhm.
What it boiled down to, when we ordered the generator, I had assumed it was gonna be a $1,500, $2,000 install.
Mhm.
And what I had not considered at the time is where it was actually gonna have to sit, the generator.
Mhm.
Because your typical generator is 6 or 8 foot of wire from the meter base. And in this particular instance, there just wasn't nowhere to put it, which Jeff's been there and saw it. So we ended up having to put it around the back of the building, and it just brought on a tremendous amount of labor of putting in the conduit, wiring. Then we ran into another issue. Tommy, when he came to inspect it, and it's supposed to be in here, hate to say it, but I've got so blind I can't hardly read that, where it's kind of blurry.
Mhm.
But, the building had never been bonded when it was originally built and wired.
Mhm.
And Tommy would not let us turn the power back on until he'd done quite a bit of additional work that was not even part of the generator deal.
Mhm.
So there it is.
Okay.
And that's about all I know to tell you.
Now, Jeff, give us, just reiterate, because I remember coming in and they were getting the generator and all that.
Yep.
So, just revisit.
There was
That-
$5,000 set aside 2 budgets ago
Yes.
Yeah, it's been,
for removal of
And
the
to tell you the truth, we
generator.
didn't even
Right.
realize it was there.
Yeah.
Until about the time you came. in.
right.
And, they found a generator and purchased and I called and talked to everybody, and everybody said, yeah, go ahead.
Mhm.
And we had talked about roughly $2,000 for install, and that's what everybody kinda approved. But, when they went to do it, it obviously wasn't $2,000. And if we'd done talked about it and had done approved the 2,000 on top of their 5 for the install,
Mhm.
because we know there was gonna be extra, because he got generator and transfer switch for less than,
Yeah, it was,
Less
it
than
was on sale, we got a
yeah.
pretty good deal on it, I don't remember the exact
So,
number. It's, some kind of fall or spring
Mhm.
yeah, it was back.
roundup or
fall.
something where they sold them cheaper.
Okay.
So, and everybody agreed then, to go ahead and do
Approve
go ahead and
the-
spend that $5,000 and then,
And the reason being, let me throw this in there, as far as the generator went, it's on our second building, which we had no generator power on, and therefore we couldn't open the doors without having to manually do it if the power was off.
Mhm.
And this generator was capable of running that building standalone. So that's why
So that was all approved, the generator and the install, but due to, things unforeseen, we're looking at another $7,700.
so they done the,
should have been technically.
yeah,
Yeah.
they done the $5,000 for the generator.
Oh.
I think there was
Approved, and
supposedly set aside.
we had agreed that roughly $2,000 for the install.
Oh, okay.
And
So this bill's for the whole thing,
Yeah,
which
the whole
was,
thing.
what's the overage amount then off the invoice?
Well, it'd been $5,698 and,
5,600?
yeah, that looks like a 98, it's kind of smudged, but this is what,
5,698.
yeah, would be the
What's the
overage.
overage?
That would be the overage, because.
Oh, 2,000, okay,
Yeah,
I'm with you, all right.
We've already approved up to 2,000 for the install.
Okay, so it's 5,698 and 20 cents.
Yeah.
You said there was money left in the generator and stuff?
No, I mean, it was he got the generator for right at 5,000.
Yeah, like
That's what it was. Oh, I know.
48
Okay.
and some change,
Yeah.
Okay,
plus tax or whatever, I guess
It
tax.
come
I don't know.
I think
It was
you
right
guys
at 5.
even had to pay $42 on it, I think's what you
Mhm.
had to pay.
I've had too many nights of sleep since then, I don't know.
I've got the receipt, I mean, if we need to go back.
all right,
that
so
far, but-
there's a request for $5,698.20 to hook up their generator. That was an overage from unforeseen issues,
Yes.
correct? All right, now, I guess the question is, where would this money come from? Do y'all have, you don't have a fund balance that's associated with us?
We do,
You do?
but it was technically set aside one revolution ago for the floors there that we have yet to do, as far as doing the epoxy ceiling.
So you don't have any to speak
No,
of?
their fund balance is
I don't know
not,
exactly.
Okay.
because we set aside
Mhm.
17,000.
15 or
Is
something.
there any money left from the, other project we set aside for the steps and?
Yeah, 'cause, that's in their, that was capital projects, $18,580 was set aside in capital projects. And that was give to them in
For them steps, wasn't
yeah,
it?
that was for the
Because you have to do
steps,
the steps.
Which we
So-
haven't done those yet,
which
but
they've not done.
I think,
That money was give to you in your budget, so
it's there.
so it's there, you have that money.
Yeah, but that's set aside for that, and he needs to do
That
that.
is set aside for that.
I just wondered if there was any money left from that.
Oh.
If they hadn't done it, I guess.
Actually, due to circumstances, I actually had Chestnut Construction come down and look at that the other day.
Mhm.
Don't know what the difference is gonna be, but I think that it's gonna come in less than that initial bid that we had got.
$5,700 less?
But I don't, like I said, I don't know. But-
That'd work out perfect.
I don't know what the number's gonna be, but I think I feel like there's gonna be a little left.
Okay,
Because, they didn't feel like there was as much
mhm,
going on there as another fella that did.
okay.
And I don't think he's in the picture right now.
Right.
For work.
Well, so the money that bought the generator came from capital, was a budgeted capital project.
Come from
Um,
capital
All right, so Jeff, if we wanted to approve this, this money would just come out of our fund balance?
Yeah, I mean, we could actually, we had, quite a bit, we've got quite a bit in our capital projects. So, I mean, we can pull it out of our capital projects if we wanted to, or we could pull it out of, I have that money still left from the extra, from the tax money that the county give us.
Okay,
So, I mean.
which you would probably consider that fund balance as well?
Yes, that is right.
Right, so, all right. Well, gentlemen, this would come out of our fund balance, and if we wanted to do an up to that amount, and if, Mark, you get a little money extra coming back from the decks and you want to kick back, that
Well,
would be fine.
in theory, you guys have got the money, no, we've got the money, right?
No, you got the
Well-
money.
You've got the money for the deck. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you could go ahead and pay it out of the deck money, and then if you need extra,
Let's do that.
if you need extra on your deck,
Then
we
if
cover
if
that.
I'm wrong and it doesn't, come in cheaper, I can always come back again.
Or if it's 2,000 or whatever.
Right,
it is.
Right.
right.
I think that's the
Okay.
best thing to do.
So, what's that? All right, somebody put that in a formal thing for me, what you just said.
I'm afraid to, because it's for me.
I don't think we need to, do we?
So, what we're gonna
Because it's a capital
do
project, and if they get, and then it's just him coming back to us later on for money.
for this right here after he does the decks?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that, you're okay with that?
Just pay it out of
Okay.
your capital
Take
project.
Peter
All
and
right.
pay Tom.
So,
And if that don't work, you come back.
Go ahead and-
Take Tom, pay Peter.
go ahead and get your capital project,
Peter's hungry or I'll have to be back.
get your capital project done, and then come back, and then we'll see what we need on that. All right? That's easy enough. We'll put that off till he comes back to us. All right. Elk Park wants to repurpose their deck money. You're speaking for Elk Park, Jay?
I guess so, because I don't think Jeremy got zoomed in, and, so, I have got pretty well an idea of what they wanna do. So we set aside them the $20,000 to redo their deck, the back deck.
How much?
It was 20.
Mm-hmm.
And, since they moved into the old rescue squad building, there's been some stuff that they really need to update to be able to operate there until they get their new building. And they were wanting to, Jeremy was wanting to be here, but, let's see, they were looking to do some HVAC work because that building doesn't have a heat pump of any kind.
Okay.
You know, heat or cooling, and then, let's see, they need a bay heater out in the bay.
Mhm.
That way, when it starts getting cold again, because they're probably gonna be there a year at least.
So they won't be drunk off the kerosene.
Right, or that, they've got a little bitty propane heater. No, but there's one of
There
them,
was a heater in there.
there's a little old bitty one in there.
And there was a big heater, gas heater.
Yes, they did then.
Yeah.
They did up there.
Because I know when the crash truck was down there, it had a heater in there.
But
And it had a heat pump, and it had a heat pump too, for the office place.
I think
Is it out or something?
I think it quit working completely, is what it was. And then, that little heater is just killing them in propane. And then, they're looking to do some parking lot repairs too, just to fix some of the bad places in the parking lot. And Jeremy was pretty sure he could do all of it for less than 20,000. I mean, that would still mean that they'd have to get quotes on all of it and bring it back to us. But they're just looking for us to approve, for them to be able to start that as a project.
Would it be possible for them to move the heat pump from the old station?
I think that may be what they've got in mind, is the one off of the new section of the old station, I think that's what they've got in mind, is to take it down from there and move it to the other building.
That heats the upstairs?
Yeah, that cools upstairs.
Okay.
Because that'd be plenty
Would
big.
would it maybe, you would know this, is it possible it's too big, or does that matter?
A little bit, but I mean, if you've got 200 square feet and it's a 5-ton up there, then that's an issue. But, I mean, you could do the whole bay and everything with that. So,
That's what I was wondering, instead of doing that.
yeah, heat the whole building.
Put that
Yeah.
up there and be set.
Be done with it, yeah.
So that might work out better just to move it up there for the
Other
total,
than
total heat system.
maybe adding a duck out there,
Yeah.
whatever needs to be done.
Have we done give them this 20,000 for the deck, or we still?
No, it is not in their capital projects money. We were holding that in ours, and we didn't even put it on. We moved that money to our capital projects.
Because the building got condemned.
Yeah, because of the building.
So, but technically, I guess it's still kind of due them
Yes.
for this type of
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
Well, I want to lay out, number one, this Elk Park Station situation is not going to be a quick fix.
No.
These guys are going to be in this building probably for a while before all this gets resolved. So this building probably needs the same consideration as any other building. So whatever that means. Now,
Well, it's still a asset even when they get into the other one. I mean, you
Correct.
can't just let it rot down.
Right. I mean, we need to probably maintain that. And that includes this. Now, Jeff, I would, say that because they're looking HVAC work, but if we can take something from the building that's no longer and put to there and it work or whatever, we do need quotes.
Yeah. They were
And-
just looking for permission, they were just looking for y'all to be willing to go that route with that money, because there's no point spending that money on a deck now.
Well, we can spend on deck.
We can fit on deck and then tear it right back down. That'd be,
And,
typical government would.
he mentioned maybe even getting a dumpster delivered down there
Mhm.
with that, leaving it while they're cleaning out a bunch of stuff, so they got somewhere to put some of that old stuff, and
If they can come up with a plan and quotes, and if you can make sure that you can go make sure it's the efficient, what we need, that it's above board and it's probably an efficient thing to do, like moving one through the other, whatever part of one building we can use on that building, we would want to. And so if they will come up with a plan and you agree that it's the efficient way to do things, and then they can come before us for the amount of money that needed that we could bring out of this $20,000. Does that make, we all good with that? Okay. All right. Approve the committee for the Elk Park Fire Department, the continuation. So, obviously, if somebody's watching does not realize Elk Park's fire department is sinking into the ground, and there's going to be, there's substantial repair or moving to fix that. And what we are looking to do is get out of the box, all things considered situation to get Elk Park a stable and level fire department. So we are looking to put together a committee who is part of Elk Park, part of this commission, and a commissioner, a county commissioner. So we are looking to approve that committee. Is that right?
Yep, we need to basically appoint that committee and approve it here,
Okay.
so they can start their.
So they can start meetings to figure out, because this is not going to be an easy, cheap, or simple solution to their issues. So, Jeff, now we've got 4 members, but we're still missing a commissioner?
I got in touch with him today, or Cindy got in touch with him, Dennis Aldridge.
Uh-huh.
Said he would
So,
have time and be-
okay, so we do have a full board to approve,
Yes, sir.
okay?
And, after talking to some of the commissioners, they kind of felt like that was a good, person. He's kind of neutral. He doesn't really have any ties to them, and, he was one of the ones that said yes, so.
There you go, everybody else stepped backwards, didn't they?
Well, she asked a couple, and they said that they didn't really have time. They would do it if they had to, but they didn't really have time. So, and Dennis said that he'd make time if he needed to. It wasn't no problem. So.
And we need to approve this committee, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it needs to be an ad hoc committee.
Okay, explain that.
Just say that properly for the legal terms.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be an ad hoc committee. Okay.
And then they don't have to go through all of the.
Okay, all right, I got you.
hoops that-
This is a ad hoc committee that is going to explore all options that is, to be best determined to give Elk Park, the best option that they have and the taxpayer that they have, and that comes together to get this situation resolved. Okay, now, the people on the committee, the two fire commissioners are Johnny Mathis and Mark Taylor. To be approved, it's also Elk Park Fire Department is Mike Ellenberg and Tim Franklin, and then the commissioner is Dennis Aldridge. I want to first and foremost say thank you for the extra time and effort, because this may take a little while, and there's going to be a lot of discussion. So all members, including the two that are present, thank you very much for your time, additional time, other than the time you're already given for the different things that you do. So I need a motion to approve these 5 individuals for the Elk Park Fire Department Fire Station Committee.
So moved.
We have a first. I don't know that they can second, but I guess maybe I can, so I'll second. So, all in favor, it's appointed. I guess. Yeah, that's somebody's issue they can call. All right. Now, guys, and Jeff, just a quick note, I like the notes on the back of the meeting, because that may help me out quite a bit. So, thank you. All right, Fire Department Coordinator Report. And
Okay.
Jeff, I see this information we have in the back. Explain what we're looking at.
Okay, so we have discussed several times about policies and all of that kind of thing, and we've got a policy right now at the lawyer, the county attorney. Our employee policy is at the county attorney. This company is a legal firm for fire departments. They, all they do is fire departments, and there is a ton of things that we get for this price. Like we can do, they'll do drug testing for us, they'll do background checks, they'll do policies, they'll take our policy and look through it and make it legal. You know, they even write policies for boards like you guys. So, it is a one-time sign-on fee of $1,500. And then, it's
$225 a month.
yeah, thank you. I don't remember. Yeah. And it's a
5-year agreement.
It's a 5-year agreement. So the advantage of that would be is anything we have that comes up legal, we can call someone who deals in fire department stuff. Your second page gives a whole list of stuff that they do and that's tied in with that. So I mean, I'm not asking anybody to approve it. I know budget time is coming up and we are fixing to have to start budget meetings. And this is one thing that I would recommend, and I've talked to several people, and they would recommend us looking at this and budgeting for this in our next budget meeting. This is nothing I want, we need to really do anything with right now, but I wanted to give it to y'all, so you had it to look at, and try to, you know, we need to really talk about something like this, because our policy's been with the county attorney for
Long time.
a long time.
You hadn't done nothing to it.
So,
Well, so what we're looking at is breaking away from our legal counsel being the county attorney to someone being our own.
yeah,
Now, and they would have attorneys that could come in for us and appear in court if we needed to be?
yes.
All under that, $255 a month, is that all, or $225?
Yeah.
Whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be,
Also-
I would wanna investigate that just a little more, but yeah.
Because, let me tell you, that lawyer can run into some big
Yeah,
money quick.
yeah, I know, that's my first thoughts too.
The reason for the price is because VFIS sponsors them. If you'll read into that, they work for the Wildlife Commission, but VFIS are insurance, that's why you get the deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
They pay them so much to keep you on, so they don't get.
So this would be something, you're just giving us a heads up because this is something we need to address in budget time?
We need to look at this here in budget time.
Okay.
It's pretty heavy.
Well, just for me, Jeff, and somebody else might wanna say, I wanna make sure you've got the details of what we got. Do we get an attorney who will show up at the Avery County Court for whatever reason may be? Do we get that? And so, or do we still have to rely on somebody else?
Right.
So, as we get closer to budget time, we may have more questions, but that would be my first one right off the bat.
That's why I give you the flyer today.
Right.
So you got to look at and kinda, you know, even do your own little,
It would be good to see if they could just come up there, send a representative up to talk to us.
yeah, that'd be a, you
If
know,
they
kind of,
do that,
yeah.
if they do that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Because obviously they do HR, but HR and legal's not the same thing. So,
Lawsuit, could run you 40 or 50,000 for a lawyer.
yeah. So just get the details on that. I mean, even if there's a circumstance that's a long, drawn-out legal process, what's the case for that? I mean, we just need to know what we're getting into
Right.
from that. Okay.
But I wanted to give it to you so y'all had to look at and we could compile some questions and I can take them back and I'll ask, you know.
Yeah, we need to know what we're getting into so we're not left.
If I can get a representative up here, that'd probably be the best.
Yes.
That'd be the
We
most
can
ideal
ask
thing.
them directly.
We got a grant writing service too, and
Yeah.
that is, so that would
Goddamn.
help.
That would be,
That'd pay for it right
Be
there.
a plus there.
so in your packet, you have just a couple more little things. Those are estimates for shipping containers.
One is to rent them and one's to buy them.
Well, this guy is the guy out of Spruce Pine right beside Valero, and he has an option to buy and an option to rent. So, but now his option to buy is cheaper than everybody else's option is cheaper than everybody else I found. But now his is on, that $4,000 is only for one container, and everybody else's is
And remind everybody again why we're considering containers.
somewhere for Elk Park to store their stuff while they don't have a building during the building process here.
And could you or anybody else on this board see a use of a container after that?
I mean, yeah, as far as storing equipment or even maybe eventually for the training facility, so.
And if we owned a container, or where would that sit after the Elk Park situation would be?
That's a
That-
good question.
I don't know, we have to find someone.
Since we can't even find the place to put the fire trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Do what?
Yeah.
Does that mean you get first priority in filling it full?
Just like, I've been sitting in my station for 2 years.
Yeah.
Is it still down there?
I'm building.
I would, let's get,
The advantage of the shipping containers, we can set it outside.
Yeah, it's not a weather issue.
Yeah, we can find somewhere to put it.
Yeah, you probably bring it up, I'd probably find a place.
Yeah. So,
Put a few tractors in.
mm-hmm.
but this was, you guys just a couple meetings ago asked me to find this, and, I can find them cheaper, but they're the small ones, it's the 20-footers instead of 40s, and, I mean.
It has been my experience that if you lay a table out in the middle of a shop,
It's gonna fill up.
it'll have tools all over it by the end of the day and not be put up where it's supposed to, so
And,
I'd say you could have one.
and like this guy here, his is for the high wall containers, so the 9.5 foot instead of the 8-footers. All of the other two are for the regular containers, the 8-foot tall containers.
So the Appalachian Sheds and More is, do we need to do something with that now, or you're giving us a heads up and that we need to consider this whenever we're starting
This
Elk Park
is
deal?
something to consider. I mean, they might could use it pretty soon to start putting stuff in,
Mm-hmm.
but this is one of those things that you might call and say, hey, the committee has decided they're wanting to start doing this, when they need to find somewhere to put their stuff.
Right.
And here we are, gonna have to wait till another meeting.
Well, let's go ahead and have a little bit of discussion about this, so we kind of have a general idea where everybody is. What would you all think about the purchase and/or the rental?
I think for what it's
I
gonna
mean, it
cost
looks
us
to
to
me
rent it,
like
might as
there's,
well
what,
purchase it.
$1,000, $1,500 difference?
Mhm.
I mean, you're crazy not to own if you can do it with, I mean, you can come up to my place and look, you can tell.
Yeah.
You're crazy not to own if you can do it with that close.
And
Yep.
Worst case scenario, at the end, you could probably sell it and come out.
Yeah,
worth
that's
well
right.
on it,
Yeah.
You know?
Sell it for that price.
6,000. Well, yeah, my thought too is I'm not a big pay rent guy. I think that you could purchase this thing and it would get used. Probably you would find that somebody's gonna wanna buy more than one. And it just seems like that price doesn't seem that high to me. And I don't know anything about that, but that,
like I said, I've looked around and he's $500 cheaper
Okay.
than about everybody else when you put them together on the two. You know, this other one here is $8,504, and this guy's gonna be $8,000, and that's delivered, if we do two of them. You know, that's $8,000 delivered, that's saving $500 right there just by getting it from a local guy. And, I mean, I kinda like to buy local if we can. We are spending our tax money. I mean, he's not completely in our county, but he's far away.
Okay, yeah.
well, I would think that we've had some discussion here. I think there's a consensus that the purchase may be the best way to go, and it's good to have that discussion now.
Actually, the best way to go would be for me to rent them to you.
That would be the best. That would be the best for Mark Taylor to go, absolutely. But, so anyway, Jeff, you will let us know when it's time to pull the trigger on this, and then we can review that either individually or in the meeting.
Yeah,
depending
I
on
mean,
what the circumstance is.
if somebody was here from that park, they might have it, they might say, hey, we'd like to go ahead and get one, start putting stuff in or something.
I'm just thinking that we have this discussion
Yeah.
so that if a week after a meeting, something needs to happen, he can call us. We've already had this discussion, and that we can tell him what we think, and if it's okay, we'll move forward on that.
Are they gonna set them down there at the site?
I
Is there gonna be room to
think
work?
they've got somewhere they got somewhere on the other side to set them. That's what I think Jeremy told
You
me.
know, that's an issue that's going on at the high school right now, there's no work room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think they figured out somewhere to
Okay.
put these 40-foot containers.
Well, just let us know when that becomes something that we need to deal with, either individually with you or through a meeting.
Okay.
What else you got?
That's pretty well it. That and this is all. Oh, yeah, so one more thing.
Hmm?
It is budget time. We started our first budget meeting last year. It was, March the 16th was our first one. So, we're,
Dang it.
we're there.
So let's go ahead and let's do it right now. But when do we want our first meeting?
Next week, on Thursday, the 18th, that gives everybody kind of a week. I've got all but Linville's and Beach Mountain's budgets put in books, and all of my sheets are all filled out and everything's ready to go for y'all. So I've got just that one fire department left to do.
Remind us, how did we do that? We do it once a week for however many weeks, or how did we do it last year? Because it seems like we did.
We just done it and set another meeting.
Kind of work
Yeah.
out the
Okay.
next meeting from.
So we just need to set the first one and then go from there?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's set the first one, because we can't get finished if you don't get started.
And I've got everybody's budget but Banner Elks.
Probably won't affect no one but me and Johnny, but don't forget next Thursday is the association meeting.
Association meeting, crap, forgot about that.
Well, just go ahead. It doesn't have to be Thursday.
No.
What date do we want to get started? Do we want to get started next week? I guess we should, since we've already need to be started.
Tuesday's good for me, or Wednesday.
Well, so, it don't happen often, but it does happen roughly twice a year. Me and Brian are both gonna be gone Friday and Monday this weekend. We're
This
both-
Friday and Monday.
This Friday and Monday.
Johnny suggested Tuesday, you'll be back here Tuesday,
And
correct?
I should have enough time.
About Wednesday.
I could do Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Wednesday would be better on me, 'cause that gives me a whole day to get, other stuff
Straight.
situated and straightened out and a place for us to,
And you're gonna have the board full of our spreadsheet?
yeah, I reckon.
So, it sounds like Wednesday today, you need to let Matt know,
Okay.
and,
What
so,
time is this gonna happen? Is it doing today or night, or
well, not,
morning, or evening?
About
or-
6 last time, wasn't
Yeah, we started 6 last time, 'cause Matt couldn't be here before.
yeah, that's right.
6, really.
Well, if we did it last year at 6, go ahead and put it at 6 on Wednesday.
And if something
If,
changes,
if Matt,
we'll let you know.
if Matt has a conflict or an issue, we'll take that in consideration. It doesn't have, you have to have a you have to have a quorum there? No.
Not for that.
But we need to try to have everybody there, but you don't have to be there, but you're gonna probably want to, so you know what's
Matt
going on.
missed several of them last year.
Mm-hmm.
But-
Okay, Wednesday at 6, unless you call us and let us know a little something different.
That sounds good. All right.
If you don't care, send us a text about Tuesday, let us know.
Yeah, I almost forgot the meeting. I almost forgot the,
Between now and then.
I almost forgot the meeting tonight until my wife reminded me, so.
6:30 Wednesday.
Where do,
That's how I operate.
where do we stand on, as far as employees and getting vaccinated? How many employees decided to do that, or did any, or?
Several more.
Yeah, we've got several more.
Some word, you know,
Yeah.
all told them, has been motivated some more.
Yeah.
We're doing pretty good
So
there.
we've probably got
Handful of it.
5 or 6, I think, I know of,
That's had it.
that's had it. So, I mean, we probably don't have 4 or 5 that don't have it, do we? Really? So, yeah, so I mean, it keeps crawling up just a little bit, and the new one, the Johnson & Johnson may change some of their minds too, so.
All right, anything else?
Is it available now, Ronnie?
Johnson, Johnson, yeah.
The state did get 84,000 loans out of it.
Okay, yeah.
But, you know, we're gonna get it.
Paul said he was expecting to get it pretty soon.
Yeah.
And I asked him about it for himself.
Watauga got
Put it
it
right
this
here,
week.
do you wanna, I'll let you know. I got a list of people that wanna know when. That right there's what we're running
That's
into
the
with a
one
lot of
we're
our
waiting
guys.
on.
So,
It's approved.
yeah.
They're in Watauga. They're giving out Watauga this week, the Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah.
So we're on track for all our folks getting COVID shots.
Got real.
Okay, very good. What else you got?
I'm done.
You're done?
That's it.
All right. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the February 11th, 2021 minutes.
You ain't got 'em.
Wow.
We don't have them.
No.
Okay, so we will table that till,
We can do it till next meeting.
next meeting, yeah, we'll do it next meeting and approve the 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Upcoming meetings, next Fire Commission regular meeting will be April 8th, 2021 at 7 in the Avery County Commissioner Boardroom. Avery County Fire Association meeting April 1st, 2021, and is yet to be determined where that is. I'm sure they'll notify everybody. Is that right? But it will be at 7 wherever it's going to be, and the chief's meeting will be that wherever it's going to be at 6:30 there. All right. Now, we need to go into closed session for personnel. The general statutes 143-318-11, A6, personnel meeting for closed session. So I need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion.
And second, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
All right, we are out of closed session and back into open session. And I think the motion that we made to go in is in open session. So we did that. Now, and no vote was taken, just a discussion on personnel. Now the only thing left is a motion to adjourn. And Matt's not here, which had already been done, so who's up?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, you gotta be a little quicker on
Okay,
the trigger there,
sorry.
brother, if Matt's not here.
Jump on that, boy.
All right, all in favor, aye. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, if you're still here, and thank you, board members, for your time. And we'll start, and I've got